I'm going to make a Texan rub for my rump steak. And I'll show you the rump steak in a couple of minutes. It's quite impressive. What I'm going to start with is the spices and getting all the spices and flavour into it. I've got some chilli powder here because it's a Texan rub. I want it really, really nice and hot and spicy. I've got some dried oregano. I'll put that in there. And I've got some paprika, some smoked paprika here to give it a really sort of smoky flavour. I've got some pepper, some white pepper that's been ground straight in there. Now, all the recipes are on the website. And I've got some cumin here, like about a tablespoon of cumin in there. Make it nice and spicy. Onion powder. If you haven't used it before, it really gives it a great flavour. It does. I just love it. So that goes in there, about a teaspoon of that, and some cumin goes in there. Now, that's all you need. Now, all I do is just give that a bit of a mix around. What about your Texan barbecue rib? Would you have a Texan barbecue spice mix? You'd probably put it on fish or something,
but I'd do it the same as that, yeah. Okay.
Maybe like a Cajun sort of spice mix.
It smells quite Cajun-y. And put it on tofu. There
we go. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put all this together. The beef, I'm going to spice it and marinate a little bit, or let it fester and all the flavour get into it. But I've got a corn cob here. And you know, with a corn cob, you know, I'm going to roast it on the barbecue. You can steam it or whatever, and people usually peel it off. This is the trick. If you're going to put it on a barbie, just whack it on like that.
It doesn't dry out.
No, the husk on the outside keeps it nice and moist. That'll burn and go black, but the inside will cook beautifully. Now, here's my beef. This is the best part. This is rump steak.
This is for a family of 6.
Well, it could be for a family of 6, or it could be for one very, very hungry person. I love rump steak. It comes from, no guess, the rump down here. But it's a beautiful cut of meat because it does a lot of work. The rump is always moving and moving the animals around, so it does a lot of work, sits on the hip bone, and it's got beautiful flavour. You know, a little bit of chew to it, but beautiful flavour. And often it's just that little bit cheaper. So if you want a big steak, which, you know, every now and again I want a big steak, this is the one. Now, all you need to do is make sure you sprinkle this on like that, beautiful. And this dry rub will actually, the flavour will penetrate and get into the meat, which is what you want. Turn it over like that, look at that,
So you could do that the night before?
I would recommend that you do this the night before. The longer this marinades, the better. And because it's a dry rub, you know, when you put it on the barbecue, if it's, you know, when you make a marinade, it's all oily and it's got lots of liquids and stuff in it. You put it on the barbecue, you get flares up. You get all this oil, you get all these flames and stuff, and the oil drips onto the fire or whatever. Mess. Well, this is a better way of doing it. You've got a beautiful flavour, and it's something about the texture of eating the dry rub that's on it. It's beautiful. So what I'm going to do is let this marinate for an hour or so. We'll just clean this down a little bit. We'll make a little bit of a salad, and we'll get ready to put it on the barbecue. OK, there's my steak nicely marinated. You can see the spices have gone in there and sort of dissolved. Now, Janella, what I'm going to get you to do is make a nice little salad. Simple salad, avocado, red onion, tomato, lime juice squeezed in it, and olive oil, salt and pepper.
All sort of diced up?
All sort of diced up, whatever you want to do. We're outside, it's a barbecue.
You don't let me do whatever I want with your salad.
We can have it a little bit rugged. I'm going to be happy. I'm going to be cooking this steak, so you can do whatever you want. I'll even turn a blind eye to some tofu in there, but there's no tofu out here. Now, what I've got...
Don't you be too sure about that.
You'll sneak some tofu in somewhere. Now, what I've got is my steak has been, you know, festering away and marinating. What I'm going to do is put a little bit of olive oil onto the steak, just a little drizzle like this, and rub it in. Now, here's the most important bit, the salt. That'll help to make sure all those flavours are locked in there. See how with the oil, the salt dissolves straight into the steak. The salt's penetrating into the steak to make it nice and tasty. It's sort of like the steak wants to be cooked. It wants to be lovingly turned and enjoyed on my barbecue. There we go. A little bit of salt on there, both sides. It's a nice thick piece of steak. Now, this is a rump. This is going to be delicious. My barbecue is red hot. I want it nice and hot to sear this steak. And this is what you'll hear. Can you hear that?
Sizzle.
Hear that searing. Nice and hot. It'll take probably 5 to 6 minutes. Give me time to wash my hands and clear up. And I'll turn it a few times. And we will have the most delicious, tasty steak in the world. Scallops were a fantastic entree to what I'm about to eat now. And I say I because...
It smells amazing.
It does. You know, you've got those flavours. And as I said before, if you had a piece of fish, you could use the same spices on some fish or, you know, even some of your hard tofu. that you could when you barbecue that.
Because there's such strong flavours in those spice rubs. That's what you want on tofu.
That's it. I'm just trying to picture the, on the menu there, Texan tofu. Just, I don't know.
I'd order it.
Look at this beautiful meat.
Oh, look at that.
Nicely carved. Slice it nice and thin. Because, we're not going to eat a lot of meat, but we're going to eat beautiful meat, grass-fed Australian meat. Look at that. And I've sliced it like that, pop it onto my plate here. As I said before, you can share this with a few different people. That's going to be really flavoursome. I've got my corn, and here's something I picked up when I travelled through Guatemala. What they do is they get their corn, squeeze some lime on top of it like that, and then they put some salt on it.
Yum.
Beautiful.
That's where you get the idea for the...
That's for you.
Oh, Adrian, there's a lot of salt. The lime,
it is.
lime corn chips.
Exactly, but you got the salt on there, it makes it really tasty. It's going to take a little piece of meat like this, and I know I should be using a fork. I know if my mum's watching me, she'll say, Adrian, you should always use a fork. And have a little taste of that. A little bit of salt on there, make it a little bit more tasty.
Adrian, you don't need that extra bit.
Oh, my God. That is fantastic. We talk about meat and having a big piece of meat, but there's a good portion size. A couple more slices there. That's what we should be eating. That's normal. I'll just have the rest of this.